Eat Lux your way with the Lux Cravings boxes from Taco Bell. There's the classic $5 box, the indulgent $7 box, and a whole new obsession in the $9 box, the Flamin' Hot Grilled Cheese Burrito. Try the Lux Cravings boxes at Taco Bell today.
As sports fans, we may cheer for different teams, but there's one thing that we can all agree on. We want the game to be big. And with 3 levels, 30 cabanas, a 143-foot screen, 6 clean pools, and endless cold drinks, it doesn't get any bigger or any better than Stadium Swim in Las Vegas. All sports, all seasons. It's more than a pool deck. Stadium Swim. It's the only thing like it in the world.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. Refreshing and goes down smooth. Let the good times cruise with Sun Cruiser.
How's your day going?
Going good. Thank you again.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
Hey Bronco Nation, this is Shannon Keegren with Boise State Softball. Summer in Idaho is the best time of year. Rodeos, camping trips, and the hikes that end in views you'll never forget. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're here to get you there. With a team known for incredible customer service, the best new and pre-owned inventory, and a commitment to making your experience easy, friendly, and fast. But here's the best part. Every purchase here helps support Boise State Athletics through their NIL partnerships and athletic sponsorships. See you soon at Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN broadcasts come from the Sun Cruiser Studios. Sunny days call for Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Made with real iced tea and real vodka. It's refreshingly smooth and easy to drink. Crack open a Sun Cruiser and let the good times cruise. Bronco Nation News is presented by our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise, and our major sponsors, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, RoadPaint.com, and the Blue and Orange Store. At Lithia Ford of Boise, we're proud to stand with Boise State Athletics. Through our NIL marketing partnerships, we're investing in the future of student athletes. Lithia Ford of Boise, here to get you there, wherever that may be. Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho. Broadcasting from the Sun Cruiser Studios, here's BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, what's going on, Bronco Nation? Happy Tuesday to you here at BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains. We do this each and every weekday on Bronco Nation News, 9 a.m. talking Boise State sports, variety of different co-hosts. We're going to have Jay Tust here in just a second, but we are in the Sun Cruiser Studios whether it's that blueberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, the half and half, all the different flavors, iced teas, vodkas, lemonades. Make sure you check out our friends at Sun Cruiser. And as always, our title sponsor, Lithia Ford of Boise. Jim Sturk and Company, one of the biggest supporters of Boise State Athletics, our biggest supporter here at Bronco Nation News. So if you're in the market for that newer pre-owned vehicle, make sure you do check out Lithia Ford of Boise and lithiafordboise.com. As I mentioned, Jay Tust, Bronco Studios. Hope you watched some of the recent episodes. Great interview with Leon Rice on Friday. You've been doing a great job with breaking down the basketball roster today, the last several shows, Jay, but going to do that a little bit more today. We got Kaur Tomann coming on here in about 10 minutes, one of the newest freshman members of the team. And then at 9:45, we're going to swap you for AJ Few. I know you had him on recently. Great interview, great guest. So I thought I'd try to follow in your footsteps there and get AJ Few on as well, Jay. But a lot of basketball talk today. We're kind of going to break down this roster a little bit. Happy Tuesday. How we doing, Jay?
I'm great, man. I think the one thing we learned is just kind of wait for the finished product before you evaluate the finished product, you know?
Oh, there's still people unhappy. You know how it goes.
And, you know, there are certain things that come with a basketball roster that aren't necessarily identified in simple stat lines like intangibles. And I think that you see that was a heavy emphasis of what Boise State tried to do in compiling this roster. And so after last year's team came up short, they made some adjustments. They went out and attacked this thing. And I think that they, you know, potentially hit a home run to wrap this thing up. And, you know, you had to wait till the end, but maybe they're likely their biggest piece was the final piece.
As I said on yesterday's show, starting Monday, we're going to dive back into football pretty hardcore. We'll have our 25 most important players to the team. We'll have 5 weeks to kind of break down some of that roster in addition to whether it's basketball scheduling news, football, game times, all the other news that comes out. But this week, at least a little bit, one to continue on basketball and really break down the roster. And as I mentioned, Kaur Tomann, interesting kid. We'll see. Looking forward to talking to him, Jay. And you know, he was kind of they knew there was going to be one more kind of instant addition in the portal, which ended up being AJ. I'm thinking AJ Few, with
Ty Rogers.
Ty Rogers, and it was 2 letters. Ty Rogers was the kind of one piece that we were wondering who that was going to be, and then kind of, I don't say out of nowhere, because that they were actually, you know, the program was working on it, but for fans, media, whatever that weren't aware, it's like, okay, you know, here's Kaur Tomann, and coming off an Achilles injury. I've talked to some people that say if he had been healthy, he would have got much higher interest, and that he is a guy that if healthy can certainly contribute and play early on. And so kind of an intriguing guy that not sure what to expect this year from him, but I'm looking forward to here in a few minutes, Jay, catching up with him and kind of seeing where he's at health-wise and stuff.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody wants to talk about development because nobody can be patient anymore, but this is kind of a nice developmental piece to the program where you might not have to rush him to contribute immediately. But if you look at some of his highlights, there should be plenty of excitement for when this guy is ready to go and help out. And the cool thing about this, BJ, and this is just a topic of conversation, not necessarily does it apply to this prospect, but as we push forward with this 5-for-5 era, you know, like if a guy is injured at the start of the season, you no longer have to think like, oh, do we rest him? Do we not play him? No, things like that. Like there's a chance, like when you're healthy, you play, right?
Yeah.
And so maybe this isn't the best comparison or best situation to analyze that right now. But I just think like with other opportunities that come up in the future, no longer you're like, I don't know, we should probably just sit him and maybe get a medical red shirt later on down the road.
So theoretically, January, he's ready to go. A normal year, you sit him the rest of the year, preserve the year with a medical red shirt, whatever. Mm-hmm. Now it doesn't matter. You get the year no matter what, whether you play in 0 games, 1 game, or 30. If it goes to 5-5, maybe you would still get him for a nice boost at the end of the season that you wouldn't have had.
And again, I'm not saying that that's even the case exactly with this guy, but like, who knows? And just moving forward, those are things that you can consider now. You don't have to like think like, nah, we got to redshirt this guy because, you know, we don't want him to lose a year of eligibility. Like this is a situation where you might be able to approach it a little bit differently, but you know, he is coming off a pretty significant injury. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that he's healed and ready to go and all that stuff. But, you know, I just think like you also look at the going rate of bigs right now, BJ, like it is just astronomical. So if you can really do a good job recruiting maybe get some young guys in there that you can develop and turn them into something, then, that's a very efficient way of going about recruiting that position.
So again, Kaur Tomann going to join us here in a few minutes. Long Island Lutheran High School. He's a prep signee, but he is a native of Estonia. 6'9", put up some nice numbers on the international stage with Estonia, and a lot of positive praise from some of the folks on social media that cover international basketball and stuff about him. Like I said, I've been told his game is similar to Tyson Degenhardt's in a lot of ways, even though you always hate making comparisons like that, but just in terms of what he brings to the table, what he can do. But Jay, the 6-member class now, coming from all parts of the country, all parts of various levels of basketball and things like that. What do you make? I mean, you said kind of wait till the end before it's all put together here, but you look at a possible starting lineup that includes 3 of these new additions. You put it all together. What do you make of the 6 incoming players here? And I guess I know it's 7 if you count Henning, but it was 6 new players that were added in the last. Is that right? 6, I believe, in the last month or so. 7 total when you count Brady Hennig, right? But just in terms of what they did, I mean, when you lose and the verdict's out, I get it. I'm not here to say this better. I don't know. I can't say right now this roster is better, worse than last year. I don't know. Haven't seen a lot of these guys play a second, or most of them play a second of basketball live. So I'm not going to judge big picture wise. But when you lose a Meadow, you lose a Fielder, you lose a Keene. You already knew you were losing a Buchanan and an Andrews. They had a daunting task facing them, and they went out and filled the roster. What do you make of how it all shaped up?
I mean, yeah, they lost some big pieces, but unfortunately, I think it's also important to remember it didn't work out the way they wanted it to last year. So the definition of insanity would have just been not making any changes and running it back. And yeah, some changes were probably forced upon the Broncos for that matter. But, I think that I don't know, man. I just think that they went out there and they basically did what they said that they were going to do. They were going to find guys that, they viewed as being dogs and had some intangibles to them. And it definitely seems like that's what they were able to highlight in this class, in my opinion. And like I said, their final edition might have been their biggest edition. So yeah, I think it tested everybody's patience, but it didn't test their patience. They knew what they were doing the whole way. And I think another thing with this class, BJ, that you see, man, Leon Rice, oftentimes throughout his career really likes to emphasize and focus on rebounding. And you look at this roster, and I can't help but think that's an area where they're not only going to be better, but they're going to be more consistent night in and night out, because I think there's a willingness to do it. And I even go down to a guy like Damari Wheeler-Thomas, who's like 6 feet tall, but his stat line reminds you of a Marcus Shaver Jr. in the sense that despite the fact he's the smallest guy on the court, he'll go get you like 4 or 5 rebounds a night,
Yeah.
They're like, I think that they really played into the character, the identity, the culture piece. And I think that that's what they went out and they got. And, I briefly actually had the chance to meet Ty, and his visit was just kind of like, and I don't want to speak for anything because I was just a part of a small clip of it, or a small portion of it. AJ would probably be able to speak better about it, but he was just like kind of business, like, and I mean that in like a positive sense. Like I don't think that he was coming here looking for like the pomp and the frill and all this stuff. Like, I think he came here seeing like, can I be a good basketball player here? Can I help this team win? And at the end of the day, I think it was a no-brainer.
Yeah. And all the Illinois comments, all the fans, I don't know how many of those you saw, Jay, but how
often do you see that?
They flooded our message boards. Our message boards have a post with 50 replies, and it's mostly Illinois fans saying how lucky Boise State fans are to get him. On Twitter, there was a lot. And you're right. Not very often at all.
In this era, no. If you transfer, everybody's like so bitter and upset and all that stuff. And I think it, like, I saw some of that too, BJ, and I think I even saw some of you pointing out some of it. And that's a unique reaction that fans should be excited about.
Yeah, no, it's definitely rare, not normal to have that. And what do you make of the 2-year absence that he's had? And you look at some of his stats and things, and obviously comes in with it looks like 2 years to play. I know the 5-and-5 rules, there's some there, but it's supposed to benefit the athlete. So whatever is more beneficial to him, you can get grandfathered in, so to speak, as a current guy. So I think he's going to have 2 years, but outside shooting wasn't technically his greatest thing. I think he only took 1 3 in his 2 years or something when he was there. But I know the year he sat out, one of the reasons he sat out was to improve his shooting a little bit and expand his game. But you watch his tape from a couple years ago, can slash, can get to the basket. And when you're talking about pairing him with Damari Wheeler-Thomas, I know some folks maybe wanted more of a, just kind of sniper on the outside or more of a scorer from that spot. But when you look at everything else he's bringing to the table, 2 assists a game and the rebounding and the size and the defensive capabilities. I mean, the one clip I saw somebody share, it was like a GIF, and it was him slapping the floor and getting into the defensive stance.
Love it. Right?
In terms of the dog that they were trying to go get, it certainly seems like he's going to be a versatile guy that can do a lot of things.
I think I saw that clip too, BJ, and I don't know how many times we saw that even last year, right? But I remember Abu Kijab slapping the floor at times, right? Like some of those teams that could get into those brick fights that would be decided in the 50s, and they would get the stop that they needed. And I think that Ty's an exciting piece. And another thing that I think that if you really want to break this down, they didn't recruit a bunch of the same thing, right? Like, yeah, maybe if they went out and found a sniper, that'd be great. But like, you also brought back Peanut Carmichael and Spencer Aarons. You're counting on those guys to develop and shoot it and be a part of that, right? So they went out and found somebody that could facilitate a little bit, get to the buckets, going to rebound at a high rate, and do all these like little things. And I'm excited to see how it all fits together.
And I will say this, Jay, you mentioned it earlier, but you certainly look at the recipe for the 3 teams in a row that went to the NCAA tournament. I know some folks have a little concern about scoring on this team, and I'm not going to lie. Like, I think that's, if you at least want to look at it on paper, that is a fair concern. But when you look at what these teams' identities looked like, rebounding, defense, toughness, culture, all that kind of stuff that this program has seemingly been built on, it would seemingly look like this team is going to look a lot like some of those teams.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And I think that, last week on the show, we even talked about one of those NCAA tournament teams. And I'm going to pull it up right now, but it was the 2022-23 team that went on to win 24 games, took second in the league, went to the NCAA tournament. And again, when you talk about like, gosh, are these guys going to be able to score the basketball? Again, that roster had Chibuzo Abo, who averaged 1.5 points per game at Texas Tech. It had Max Rice, who was coming off of averaging 4 points per game and shooting 31%. It had Tyson Degenhart, who we were optimistic about, but like still, he averaged 9.9 points as a freshman, and you wanted to see his game grow. Outside of that, you had Marcus Shaver, Naj Smith. Like, I don't think you were going into that season being like, oh, these guys are going to be an offensive juggernaut, right?
Yeah.
And then they found ways to complement each other and win in these tough games. And they got back to the NCAA tournament, and they put themselves in a position to compete at the NCAA tournament. So, I just think that it's so easy to, like, offensive stats are just so easy to interpret and understand, right? I think the defensive ones at times might seem a little bit more boring. Man, if it means 24, 25 wins, I'm okay with boring.
No doubt about it. I mean, this team, obviously you don't want to have to win a game 42-37 like they have in the past at San Diego State.
But you want the ability to, you don't want to play those games, but if those are the cards dealt that night, like.
And I'm not saying they're going to be offensively challenged or can't score. I just – some of those teams were more defensive-minded first, could win those lower-scoring games, the toughness to go on the road in some of those games, the culture, and everything I've heard about Wheeler-Thomas, about Rogers. I mean, those two guys together and what they bring to the table culture-wise and leadership-wise, and those two guys both playing 30 minutes a game in the backcourt. Like, I mean, everyone talked about Darius Brown coming in and Utah State, and then they had, some other guards. You look at some of the guards in this conference, like a backcourt of Damari Wheeler-Thomas and Ty Rogers is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it will be. And, I brought this up on the show before. I'm sure you've heard it, but how like proactive Damari Wheeler-Thomas is being right now, despite the fact he's not on campus yet, in terms of his communication, his involvement, how much he reaches out. And, I mean, without saying too much or whatever, and I don't feel like it's saying too much. Like I was around a staff member twice last week, and literally both times I was talking to him, Damari Wheeler-Thomas called. It was hilarious. Like you hear about it, and then I was like, oh man, like this is not just like coach speak. Like he's really trying to be proactive and lead right now before he even arrives on campus. I thought that was pretty cool, and I think it's what they need.
With our system, we've proven we can win the defensive first way. We don't have the personnel or offensive system to be a team that tries to win every game 87-81. Brad does say those teams also had an elite shot creator, Marcus Shaver, an elite outside shooter, Buzo.
But Brad, you didn't know that going in.
But isn't Damari Wheeler-Thomas the elite shot creator?
I mean, he's supposed to be. Yeah. And like I said, like even Ty gets to the bucket, man. And if
he can drive and kick, I saw it in plenty of those clips.
A big key to the season, will honestly be the development of guys like Peanut and Spencer and Julian Bowie and stuff. Like if those guys can shoot it at a decent clip from three, like that's really going to balance all of this out. But again, going into that season, and as we talk about hype and reaction before we even see a game, Buzo was averaging 1.5 points per game at Texas Tech. Like, I think there was an excitement around him, certainly, and he turned out to be Buzo was an awesome kid, man.
And you're bringing in a guy that started on the Elite Eight and averaged 6 points a game or whatever it was.
Right. And so like I don't think we thought that he was going to be an elite shooter. Max Rice was an elite shooter. I don't think that we saw that necessarily up until that point in time in his career. And then like his career took off. So I think it's again, like waiting to see what happens here a little bit and counting on that player development, which has usually showed up in the past. That's all a part of this process.
And I will say this, his car is supposed to join in here any second. He was in a break between class or something, and he said around 9:20 he'd try to jump on. But people wanted change, Jay. They said it was stale. You want to see something different, got to blow it up, redo it. Like they did that. And like I said, I don't know how it's going to go. I think anyone that like can legit one way or the other say this team's going to be terrible or great, like you just don't know. And that's not fair to say. All these pieces, how do they fit in the transfer portal era? What does 15 points at North Dakota State mean in the Pac-12? What does 10 points at Campbell? Like all this stuff, like we don't know. But I will say this, like I think if you're a fan, there's intrigue and reason to watch and reason to be excited. Like I don't think that anybody instantly should just give up on this team and think they're going to be terrible. I'm not saying they're a surefire NCAA tournament team, whatever. I don't know. Like I said, but I do think some of these new pieces, some of the returners, also, like they've at least built a roster where I think you're intrigued enough and excited enough to think that this could be a different style of basketball again, or a little different brand than what we saw last year, at least. And there's some intriguing new pieces, and let's see how it all fits together. I'd be excited as a fan to watch this.
I'm not going to lie. Like some of the nights last year at Extra Mile Arena where Boise State would shoot like 56% from the floor and score 80 points. Like, yeah, it was fun, but like, wasn't there a part of you that like, man, I kind of miss winning a game in the 50s at times just because you saw some of those teams. You saw some of those teams, though, know that all they had to do was grind this game down to like 2 or 3 possessions, and those teams had the ultimate confidence that they were going to get either the bucket or the stops they needed to prevail in those final 2 minutes, and they were really, really good at it. And I know that we have to pause and wait and see like what exactly translates from one league to the other. Heck, Boise State, the whole friggin' program's going into a new league, right? But one thing that I do think you can be confident does translate are some of these intangibles. Leadership usually can translate. Damari Wheeler-Thomas has been proactive. Effort usually translates with what JQ Standback did in terms of winning the Conference Defensive Player of the Year as a freshman. And one more, getting to the bucket in the Big Ten, I'm going to bet that translates in this new league that Boise State's going into, the Pac-12. So everything else, yet there's some other things we got to wait and be patient and figure out if it works or not. But I think some of those intangibles you're confident will translate.
Well, 6 new players in the last 6 weeks or so. Let's meet one of them, Jay. Let's head out to Long Island, Lutheran High there in New York. Kaur Tomann, nice enough to, in between class, join us for a little bit here. There he is. How we doing, Kaur?
Hey, what's up, guys? Doing good.
Appreciate you for jumping on, man. Jay Tust, BJ Rains with you. And we're talking about this roster and this team. We're going to talk to Coach Few here in a little bit after you and really break down this roster, man. But just what's, before we kind of dive into your story, man, what's it like to have signed last week and just kind of know where you're going and be looking forward to your next chapter?
Oh man, it was exciting. I was just waiting to get it done for a long time. Actually, I knew it was ever since I went on my visit. I already knew that I'm gonna go down there, come down there, and get ready to just work with them. So we were just trying to get all the paperwork and stuff done, and then eventually last week we got it all done. So I'm just happy for that.
So what's the connection, man? I know Mike Burns is big on the international recruiting and stuff, but what for with your past and playing high school ball in New York there? I mean, Boise, Idaho, Boise State. What was the kind of initial connection? How long you been talking to Boise State, and how did your recruitment kind of go?
Yeah, so I saw Mike first actually in Romania. So this past summer when I was playing under 18s, I think I saw him for the first time in the quarterfinal game. Didn't have the best quarterfinal game, still had 20 points and I think around 6 or 7 rebounds. So it was a decent game for me. But then, the next game in the semifinals and the finals, I played even better. But Mike didn't get to see that. And then eventually he just saw me on YouTube instead. And then, he came down, flown down to New York to watch me practice. And, that was the first time when I actually saw him and got to talk to him in person. It seemed like a really fun guy and really a person I would love to be around, during coaching and stuff, if I'm a player. So I just started building that connection from there. Yeah, actually fit, and overall I think he visited me like around 3 times before I got injured. And eventually when I got injured, he was the first guy to really get on call with me. So I just appreciate him and the whole coaching staff and believing in me.
Just make sure you get a stick hand up on defense, or he may not be as fun to play for there, Kaur.
I believe that.
What did it mean for you to see that effort from Mike Burns and the Boise State coaching staff? Because it's not exactly easy to get from Boise, Idaho to Estonia, or even from Boise, Idaho out to Long Island for that matter. And I remember a couple of times showing up at the office and it felt like, I was like, man, you're going out again. And what did that effort on his part and the staff mean to you?
Nah, I mean, it feels like, loyalty to me. Especially when I was injured too, I'll say, they kept calling me, Mike kept texting me. We was always on like constant communication. Then even before that, it's at first, I'll be honest with y'all, I wasn't thinking I was gonna end up in Boise at first, because I was looking at bigger like high major schools. But then I sat down with my parents and my coach from back home. And, we was really talking about it. It seemed like, a mid-major overall route. And then Boise State route seemed like, a big deal because, they're going to join the Pac-12. They're going to play a really high-level competition still. It's like, it's things like that really stood out. And then it's not like Boise hasn't been producing in a few years. They've won more games than the other schools that, was talking to me. So it seemed like, overall, it seemed like an easy decision to come over here.
Who were those? I think we heard Nebraska, Providence. I don't know. You never know these days. But who were some of those other final schools you were looking at?
Yeah. So it was Providence, Nebraska, and then St. Bonaventure. Those were like my top 4 schools with Boise during my December time, all the way into January a little bit, I guess. But yeah, as soon as I announced that I officially like how bad the injury was, it was like Nebraska immediately went off the table. Providence it was like with Providence, they never told me they'd stop recruiting me, but they had their coaching changes, so it was kind of difficult to look through that. And then it was just between St. Bonaventure's and Boise State, really, to be honest.
Well, tell us a little bit about your injury, Kaur. When did it happen, and how are you working back from it? And how do you feel right now?
I feel great right now. It's actually I'm doing really great. It's like I've been going like how it's supposed to be. I mean, I've been rehabbing now for around 4 to 5 months. So I got my surgery done back in early January. So I think it's been like around 20 weeks or so from that time. But I'm rebuilding my calf right now to like my left leg's calf. That's where I injured my Achilles. But in rebuilding that, rebuilding also my muscles, all around my legs, muscles back, and also starting to rebuild my running back. So when I get down to Boise in June, that I already feel fine to start running and starting to do some conditioning work so I can lose some of this weight because I picked up, some decent amount of weight, but I've been in the gym right now, so it's more or less turning into, a lot of muscles and muscle strength.
We all have that. I have that problem too, picking up a little weight. But we all know the feeling there. So what is the timetable for your? You talk about being out here in June. I mean, are you? What's realistic? Are you hoping to be back? October when the practices start? Are you trying to target? A year out, December, January? I was talking with Jay. We were just talking about now with that new 5-and-5 rule, like. You don't have to redshirt the whole year. If it takes half the year to come back, maybe that's when you come back. I mean, what's kind of your thought process on when you might be back?
Yeah, it's still up to the table. We still have to really figure out on, how the recovery is really gonna be. I feel like I don't really know at where I'm at right now because I haven't been to. I mean, the last time I was at a doctor or the doctor saw me was like a month ago, but that's my surgeon doctor. So all he could really say is, it's going like how it's supposed to be, like on plan. But I feel like when I get down to Boise, I get the doctor that get down to work with Maddie over there, and then get down to also get my legs checked out by the doctors over there. I can probably see where I'm at, probably find out more there. So right now, I'm not really sure, but I think we can come back to this question around fall time.
But I mean, are you hoping to play at some point this season, be a contributor, or is it hey, let's just see what happens, and if I need to sit the year out and get stronger and better, that's what'll happen, or what is kind of your hope?
Yeah, I feel like my hope. I mean, at this point, I was hoping to play, but the way it seems like it's better to just rest the year, get myself better in a college environment. Just take that extra year. So, like Tyrese basically did, take that extra year, not rush anything because some little injuries can happen. Like as you can see, Tatum, he was out for last game, and then they lost the playoffs. Lost to Philly, who's a 7th seed. So. I don't really want to rush anything, but there is also definitely a chance I could play, but I'm not sure when. But it's just gonna, I'll come down to like the recovery and stuff.
But it sounds like you got a big picture, big goal. You got a strong, mental mindset there that if hey, take the year off, get fully better, and be ready to go a year from now. If that has to happen, it sounds like you're cool with that.
Yeah, I'm really cool with that. I mean, I feel like, if I take the year off and I come back next year, I can definitely bring down a championship, or either a regular season or a playoff or a conference championship back down to Boise.
Sounds good, Kaur. 2 questions for you. I'm gonna start off with just kind of the mental side of this. So you're getting ready to make this life-changing decision and commit to a college, and you suffer this significant injury. So what's it been like from the mental perspective to just kind of battle through this, Kaur?
I'll say it's obviously been tough. I'll say the first month or so, like from December all the way at the end of January, it was kind of tough. But I was just blessed to have a lot of these good people around me. Like I had a lot of teammates around me. Obviously, we all dormed together. We got like 10 different people in the dorm. So, during the morning and stuff, I had to stay there in bed because I was in a cast. But when nighttime falls, they always come into my room, come and check on me. We used to, play 2K and stuff. So I never was like really that sad at sometimes, or it wasn't as tough as it should have been. Because I've been battling injuries before. My 2 years and then 2 years ago back in Italy, I suffered like I dropped like 100 pounds of weight on my left calf. So I was out for a month, and I'll say that's when I matured between that time. So, but like right now, that's why probably it wasn't as hard because I was, used to a little bit being out for a longer period of time.
So who have you kind of looked at or turned to for inspiration in this time? And I noticed you brought up Tatum, who, he suffered that Achilles injury and worked his way back and got on the court for the season, or at the end of the season for the Celtics. Who's kind of inspired you, I guess, as you work through this?
Definitely my parents. I know how hard they always work back home, I obviously don't get to talk to them every day sometimes. Obviously through text we can, but like on calls and stuff, it's kind of difficult to get on phone calls because we have a 7-hour difference. And then, you know, just hearing from them, how I know how they're always acting like everything is good, but I know how tough it gets sometimes especially during like the winter times over there. So they're just my inspiration to really work back and get back to 100%.
Kaur Tomann, our guest, for a couple more final questions here on Bronco Nation News as we're getting him in a break from school, so we appreciate that. So tell us about your story, man. Like you mentioned your parents being back home and stuff. Like tell us about just growing up and how you made it over to America and just what's kind of your story here, man.
Yeah. So when I grew up, I never even looked at the basketball side because I didn't think I was gonna be this tall. My dad is like a 6'3", 6'2". My mom is 5'10". So I was thinking I'm gonna be more around my dad's height range. So I always liked soccer, obviously, and even before that, actually, I did judo and stuff, and I did boxing during my first year of basketball too. So I've been through all the different types of sports and stuff. So but yeah, after that, from age 8 all the way into 12, I played for this one, local team where we used to always go to school to, and then eventually I made a change to a different school, which is like in Estonia at the time. It was like a top tier team for youth and stuff. That's where I met one of my best friends who I still talk to this day every day usually. He's down in Cali. So yeah, I played there for another 4 years. The coach who I had is who I'm basically now friends with to this day. He's the guy who really helps me get, through this stuff as well. He was also on contact with Mike and stuff. So yeah, I just got a friend for life from there. And then eventually at the age of 16, I made the move to Italy, Rome, where I played the last 2 years before coming over to the States. And, with the help of me playing really good in the summer before in 2024 under 18s and this past summer, 2025, obviously Mike saw me and stuff. So got the chance to come over to Lehigh, got the chance to practice against some really good players. Me hands down, I'll say this is the most talented team I've ever been a part of. And we never was even 100. We never played our game 100% altogether. Like nobody was healthy 100%. So this is gonna be like one of my what if like teams. I'll say like I'll take it probably like my whole basketball career. It was probably it was definitely the best team I've been a part of yet.
Now everybody jokes, you kind of famous for potatoes out here in Idaho. Now I don't know if this is true or not, but Chad says fish and potatoes are a big part of the Estonian diet. Perfect match for Idaho. Is that true? You like potatoes?
Yeah, I love potatoes. I'm not gonna lie. It was when I was growing up though, not as much, but as I grow older, my parents kept making like a lot of food with potatoes and stuff. So obviously I started liking it, and now more recently my dad has started to really get on the fish. So yeah, I love fish too as well now.
Well, final question from me, man. I think Jay's got one more than two, but just what's your game like, man? What for fans kind of wondering what they're going to see when you get on the court? Like, what do you bring to the table? What's kind of your style of play? How do you describe yourself as a player?
I'll say I'm a all-around player. The only flaws that I might sometimes have are like my athleticisms that I'll say, but obviously I've been, in the recent years, I've been through some small injuries. So that's a little small factor too, as well, why I can't show my athleticism as much. But, I can do it all. I can shoot the ball. I can handle the ball when I need to. I can make the right reads. I can play make. So basically I can play make really at a really high level. In my opinion, I see the game at a really high level. Like I feel my IQ for the game is really high. Compared to some other players that I played against or played with in the past. And then my defense, I'll say my biggest weakness is still defense, but in the recent years, I've definitely gotten way better at that. And then this past year really helped me as well because I was going up in practice. I was going up against like all types of 4 and 5 stars every day, so it was hard to guard them. And then eventually, they helped me get better on defense as well for the first part of the season in games. I didn't. I was guarding some pretty good high level players as well. So, yeah, Basically, I say a point forward type of a player. That's what I feel like.
Carl, I'll get you out of here on this one. Since you're moving to Boise, Idaho, what stood out to you about this place when you visited?
Felt like back home, really. That's what it felt like. Like my main, the capital city back home. That's how it literally felt like. Because every time I go to the city, it's it's a lot of buildings and stuff, but it's what I noticed about Boise. Boise is pretty green as well, and that's what I love. Like that's what makes me happy to see a lot of like nature around me. And made me like feel back home, and how everybody knows each other as well. Like this, obviously, city's not as big, and that's the same back home. So I feel like that just stood out for me.
Well, we appreciate. I'm sure you'd rather just do this all day and not go back to class, but we'll let you go back to class, man. We appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you out here later this summer, and continued best of luck with the rehab, man. And we look forward to seeing you on the court real soon. Congratulations again, man, and look forward to seeing you out here in Boise.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
Thanks, man. There you go, Jay. Kaur Tomann, very well-spoken young man, and sounds like he's got the right, head on his shoulders in terms of the rehab and attacking that and his long-term plan. And sounds like he knows basketball as well. Like, it sounds like an intriguing addition here. Excited to follow his career here.
Yeah. I mean, I even like the fact that he kind of brought up Jason Tatum at one point in time and his recovery and knowing like his return to play process and things like that. And goes back, you want guys that like love the game. They just love to watch the game and pay attention to the game and whatever. They're, be a little BJ Raines like when it comes to like baseball and things like that, so
yeah.
Those guys that that'll help them get through the downs or the lulls or whatever and get back on the court.
Yeah, and there were a couple of questions. Sorry we didn't have time to get to all of us. European game that you model his game after. Some interesting stuff about Estonia, but he seems like a dude that we could certainly hit back up and get back on again. He seems like and just like you said, the players he mentioned in the NBA, and he plays 2K, and the fact that he kind of had a good plan in terms of what it takes to get on the court or play. It just seems like he's even joking about his weight. Like it just seems like you
good mature.
You never know when you get some of these interviews what you're going to get yourself into, Jay. But I will say this about one thing about basketball in particular, and this is not a shot at football or any other sport, but one thing about basketball players is there's a typical kind of guy in terms of you don't get too many bad guys on the basketball team or bad interviews or bad guys to talk to. Like that culture piece and that that whole piece is a really big deal, and I'm not surprised. It looks like he's going to fit right in.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Just seems like a mature kid. He's obviously had to move a long ways away from home, but even through an injury, he's finding a way to thrive, and now he'll soon be a Bronco, and the roster's set, and we get to move forward.
Hey, we're gonna have AJ Few on here in a couple minutes, Jay. When we say goodbye to you, what? I know he came on your show. He's a guy that I think largely still does his work behind the scenes, and fans maybe don't have don't see him as much front and center as a Burns or a Duryea or something. But what from your perspective has he brought to this team? And as we get ready to chat with him, I think for the first time on this show, I know in terms of the contracts and some of that, he's been heavily involved in some of that, and obviously is a big piece behind the scenes.
He's been a massive piece behind the scenes. It's funny, BJ, the chance to interview AJ like one of his first days here. He jumped on the show, and then interviewing him again a couple of weeks ago and getting an update. You can tell like how like time has allowed him to really get invested and better understand everything at Boise State. And now he's a big part of this piece, and he's really good at building relationships and working through all that stuff. And those guys in the bunker, man, they're awfully committed. And that's actually that's where AJ is located at the moment. And it's funny, you go on there and you flip on the light and you're like, it's like they've been in there watching film for hours or doing laps around the building on the phone, talking with agents or whatever it is. But I think that it's been cool to see AJ grow in a short time here. You can see why Leon Rice wanted to add him to his staff. Very personable, and he'll be successful in this profession, no doubt.
All right, Jay, I mentioned yesterday's Bronco Studios, whether it's yesterday or last Friday or tomorrow, what should fans be looking for or go watch on Bronco Studios on the Boise State Athletics YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's just been I thought that we'd be winding down a little bit, and eventually we're going to run out of steam here, as you know as well as anybody. BJ, start finding some story topics and things like that. But last week we rocked it pretty strong, and had some good interviews, and we're still hoping to chase down Ty Rogers and some of the gang, and so we'll get there. But it's been a fun couple of weeks. I think that I know that the coaches probably it's stressed them out, but for us, it's been fun just to kind of work through building the roster and talking about it and getting to know these new players, and then understanding the coaches' interpretations of these players. And I don't think I don't know if they describe it as fun, but it's been fun for me, and I'm sure for you as well.
Well, appreciate your time, Jay. We'll let you get back to it, and we'll talk to AJ here in a minute, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Sounds good. Thanks, BJ.
Bronco Studios, Jay Tust, award winner. We appreciate him for his time. Go watch the Boise State Athletics YouTube channel for all the Bronco Studios shows. We appreciate it, Jay, and we'll talk to you later.
Have a good one, bud.
There he is, Jay Tust. Again, great stuff. Appreciate him. Going to talk to AJ Few in just a second, but do want to thank a couple great sponsors that make this show possible. Lithia Ford of Boise, online at lithiafordboise.com. You can check out their new pre-owned full inventory of vehicles online at lithiafordboise.com. We appreciate Jim Sturk and company for their support of Bronco Nation News. So check out Lithia Ford Boise. Sun Cruiser, if you're heading golfing this summer, watching sports, whenever, great time. Sun Cruiser, whether it's the blueberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, they have the lemonade vodkas, the lemonade iced teas, so many different flavors. You can pick one up at your local Jackson's or Ridley's. Check out Sun Cruiser. Again, just a great beverage, and we appreciate them for their support. I mentioned Jackson's. You can save up to $32 on Roaring Springs tickets. I took my son to Wahoo's over the weekend and saw everybody piling into Roaring Springs. They're now open on the weekend, so $32 you can save on tickets at Roaring Springs when you buy 2 Coca-Cola products at Jackson's. Check out Jackson's or Extra Mile by Jackson's. Buy 2 Coca-Cola products, and again, save $32 from our friends at Roaring Springs. Hey, Idaho Central Credit Union, they got Pearson Carmichael. They got 7-8 NIL deals with student athletes, and they got the best online mobile e-branch banking around. You may think you like your banking experience, folks, but I can tell you, Idaho Central Credit Union takes it to a new level. Stuff you never even thought about, stuff you didn't know was possible. Give them a shot. Check them out. Check them out, iccu.com. And again, so many great things. And there's a branch pretty much on every corner. You can go step in, talk to somebody, and get signed up in a jiffy. But we appreciate them, and they're doing big things, donating money to the local high schools and charities and things like that. $25 they donated to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission for every made free throw at Extra Mile this year. So we appreciate Idaho Central Credit Union. Taco Bell, appreciate them as well. The crunchy chicken cantina tacos, the menu's changing daily. If you haven't been to Taco Bell in a while, I highly recommend it. So many great options, even some healthier options if you're doing low carb, things like that, some of the bowls and things. So TacoBellWorks.com, the SON Management Group, Nicolason family, appreciate them for their support of Bronco Nation News. Check out Taco Bell, again, online at TacoBellWorks.com. And I do want to give a quick plug to the Blue and Orange store right there at the Allen Noble Hall of Fame. They have the location there at the Boise Town Square Mall, or you can order anywhere in the world online, the blueandorangestore.com, whether it's basketball, jerseys, gear, getting set for next basketball season, football season coming up, or as I said, the 40th anniversary of the Blue Turf. They have the commemorative stuff there, including this cool jacket. You can do all that. Check them out online. Again, the blueandorangestore.com. All right, just had a great interview with Kaur Tomann. Appreciate him for coming on. We're breaking down this basketball roster, and our next guest is going to do a great job helping us do that as well. AJ Few joins us on the show here, the Director of Player Personnel. I know you're involved with Bronco Pro as well. You got a lot of different titles, a lot of different hats you wear, whether it's official or not official. But AJ, we appreciate you for jumping on, man. How you doing?
Great, BJ. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
I
think it's our first time officially getting you on the show, so we appreciate you for jumping on. We just talked to Kaur, man. What he took a break from class to join us. What an awesome guy to talk to, and I'll tell you what, man. You know, six new guys in the last month. I think 7 total when you talk about Brady as well. But everybody has a different story. Everybody has a different path. They come from all over the country, and it's interesting to kind of, as I'm sure you do, get to know all these guys individually during the recruiting process and all that. But it's crazy when you think back to a month ago and what you guys had to do to put this roster together, and now what it's kind of shaped up with here on May 12th.
No, yeah, I completely agree. Like you were saying, it's kind of cool, just all the different players we were able to connect with and meet, the different walks of life they're all in, different areas of the world they're all from. So that is the cool part, that you're still able to form these relationships with these guys. And, you know, this group these guys that are coming in, these new guys are no different. Awesome human beings first, and awesome players as well. So we're fired up to get them here.
So tell us about the last month, man, just what this process has been like, putting this roster together. And you knew you were losing a couple guys. You didn't know you were losing a couple guys. And all of a sudden, you realize, wow, we got some spots to fill, and we got some, key spots to fill. We need starters, multiple starters here. Yeah. We need to fill this roster. And you guys had a lot of work to do. And at the time, probably felt like a pretty daunting task. Just take us back to kind of, I don't say rock bottom, but just the point where you were without the most guys and had a full roster to fill, and just what was kind of the thought process, the game plan from Coach Rice and the staff there in terms of how you guys wanted to attack this?
Yeah, so, I mean, it's crazy. The portal days, man, one day feels like four, you have so many things that happen throughout every day. But just going all the way back to the start, I think Coach Rice and Coach Burns and everyone, they do a great job of keeping, everyone, telling them what the plan is, so we're all in alignment, the whole staff. And I think the craziest thing, just to start it all off, is, now, as these days, the day that your season ends, the next day you're talking to your own guys about returning. Like, that's the first and foremost thing. There's no, little break, little 1 week, 2 week break. It's right to it. So you start right there. And obviously, as we were able to retain some guys, but also some guys left. So going through that process. And then once you go through that process, you're able to kind of evaluate what you have returning and who you need to bring in and what type of players you guys need to bring in there. And then so you just go from there. I think right at the start, being able to sign Damari before the portal open was huge, just as I don't want to say sense of comfort, but just as having that guy, that guy who is going to lead your program. Obviously, he's a point guard, comes from a winning, he won at North Dakota State, obviously playing the NCAA tournament. And just the intangibles he brings, when you would talk to him, you'd know, okay, this is a guy who's ready to come in, not only lead, the players in the locker room, but also be an ambassador for Bronco Nation too. So when you have that at the start, that kind of helps give you a sense of confidence. Like, okay, we got a guy who's ready to come in and anchor us. Now let's find pieces around him. And that's what we did. Yeah.
I mean, you think about starting it off with Damari and then ending it with Ty Rodgers in that backcourt. I was talking to Jay Tust a few minutes ago. I mean, that's going to be a different kind of backcourt than I think we've seen here in a while. And just it's going to be a lot of fun to see those two guys together. What you mentioned Damari, but how big was it to get Ty? And I know he can play a lot of different roles, do a lot of different things for you guys, but how excited are you to get Ty and to partner him with Damari there? Because it seems like from a leadership, from a culture, not even what they do on the court, they're just two guys that are going to be great leaders for you.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head there, BJ. And I think that's really important to look at, especially, with the culture Coach Rice has built. It's very important to him. It's very important to us. And those two guys, I mean, you won't find a higher level of culture and leadership that those two both bring. Both want to win. Both are about winning and doing all that. So from that standpoint, we're super excited to have those two, being our leaders next year. And then from a basketball standpoint, like you said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be unique. It's going to be fun. Damari, starting with him, he's obviously a point guard. He's one, but he can also play off the ball too. He shoots it well. He can score it well. So that kind of gives him opportunity to play off the ball. And then Ty is he's just a unicorn. He can play 1 through 4 on offense, and then he can guard 1 through 5 on defense. So it just gives you a lot of options there, a lot of versatility. But he is unique in the sense that he doesn't shoot threes, or he hasn't shown that up until this point. Obviously, we want him to develop that part of his game for sure. But he is unique there. So there's some, things you do with him on the ball as a, even running point guard. There's also things you do with him as a screener too, and playing through him that way. So he's a unique player.
And it sounds like from a health standpoint, he was back practicing towards the end of the year. I mean, is he coming in full go here for the summer?
Yeah. He should be good to go. He's practicing with Illinois last 2 months, month and a half of the year. So he's good to go from a health standpoint. It's just about, getting him acclimated with our guys and going from there.
And are you fully expecting, I know the 5-and-5 rule is getting a lot of talk, but they've talked about kind of grandfathering in guys with the old rules and stuff. You would expect him to have 2 years?
Yeah, but as you know, BJ, there's just a lot. There's a lot of unknown. Like you said, though, he should be grandfathered and have 2 years. But don't quote me as that being official, just because there's a lot of things that can move with the NCAA. So that's our understanding of it, that he'll have 2 years, and that's what we hope.
Director of Player Personnel, AJ Few, assistant coach, has a lot of different hats and things, as I said, behind the scenes for the Broncos. Let's talk about the front court additions you guys made. Some very intriguing additions as well there. How do you kind of see that go on? I mean, stand back, on looks like the exciting guy on pay, on some of the highlights and things and some of the blocks, and then you went and got Dovey as well. Just what, and obviously the JUCO kid. Just what do you see in terms of what you guys were able to do there in the front court and kind of what you were looking for there?
Yeah, so as you know, I'm sure that the market for centers this year was pretty crazy, just as far as the NIL numbers that were being thrown out.
When is it not?
Yeah, I know, right? But centers, I think it was to the point where everyone was like, whoa, this is getting kind of crazy. So we just kind of wanted to find guys that fit what we wanted to do and could bring something different. And that's what I think you see with all three of those guys. They all bring something different, starting with JQ, obviously late bloomer, redshirted his first year at Alabama State, then grew like 3 inches. And he addresses the need that we just knew we needed to address as far as rim protection. Based on last year, we were one of the lowest block teams in the country, and our 2-point defense wasn't where it needed to be. So he helps with that, and he's got a lot of upside offensively. He's still, a little raw and needs to develop there, but he will, and he's getting better. But defensively, like I said, he provides the rim protection, and he's also versatile. He can play both front court positions in a pinch, can switch ball screens and do all that. So we're excited about him. And then going on to Dovey, so when I was at Gonzaga, we played him his freshman year at Pepperdine. So I was familiar with him, and then followed him to Campbell, where he was, and watched him this year. I actually watched him against Gonzaga too, and when he had 20 points, 7 rebounds, whatever it was. So I've always been a fan of him, and what he brings for us is low post scoring. Guy you can give the ball, go get a bucket, and he's a little undersized for his position, but I think some teams kind of overlook that because he plays bigger than he is. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. He averaged 14, 8.5 rebounds. So I think he gives us a low post score, but also a guy you can play out of. He's a sneaky good passer, and then obviously embodies what this program really prides itself on, rebounding. So we're excited about him. And then Jacani, first off, is a bigger body, and also can stretch the floor and shoot, which is huge to have a 5-man who can shoot. As we've seen, Boise State's had a lot of 5s who can shoot, and it's kind of just a good way to kind of neutralize bigger guys out there. So that's why they, all kind of bring something unique, and we're excited to see how it all plays out.
It seems like this team mirrors some of the previous teams that made the tournament, the last couple of years, just in terms of building it around defense and rebounding and toughness and culture. And I know some fans are wondering a little bit where some of the scoring is going to come from, but you guys have had that model in the past that's worked. I mean, was that when you had these meetings and stuff? I mean, I know you had 5-6 spots. You just had to find guys, but I mean, were you also trying to find certain traits, like you said, rim protection? But I mean, is this the defense, rebounding, culture, toughness, leadership pieces? Was that a big part of putting this all together?
Yeah, for sure. I think
Coach the dogs, as Leon Rice said.
Yeah, exactly. You took the words right out of your mouth. So that was important, but also making sure that the pieces do fit together. But like you said, being that, being physically imposing, being able to defend, kind of rebound, and enforce your will on other teams. And some of the offense is going to have to come from the returners. A lot of it, the returners that we haven't talked about yet, but obviously, Peanut Carmichael, Spencer Aarons, those two specifically, we're really betting on them making a jump. I think they will. I believe, fully in them to come in. They need to be able to knock down shots, but also create offense and do all that. So I believe in them. And then Julian Bowie, same thing. Obviously, we didn't get to see him last year because he redshirted, but I got to see him in practice every day on scout team. And, it was impressive. And same thing with him. He has to have a huge summer coming in, knocking down shots to be able to space the floor. And then same with Bomb Boom, same thing. He needs to have a, big developmental summer, come in, knock down shots. And then also he falls into the category of being versatile on defense and being able to disrupt. So those are, like you said, those are really important for us to be able to still have the space we need to work with on offense.
How's the Pac-12? We saw the picture you guys posted of the Pac-12 logo on the jerseys or whatever the other day on Twitter, and that got fans excited. But what's that been like planning for that? And of course we got the obvious question somebody put in the chat here. Ask him how bad he wants to beat his dad. I don't know. Looks like he might be back home or something there. I don't know if you're getting a break or something. But what is that going to be like playing against Gonzaga this season?
Man, I think at first it's going to be a little weird just because I grew up there, worked there. Obviously, it's my dad's the coach, but I'm also super close with, everyone on the staff. And then I'm still super close with a lot of the players. So it's going to be weird at first. But then after the first time, I think it'll just be competing. And we all love to do that, me and Coach Rice, and then my dad and those guys obviously love to compete. So after the first time, I think it'll be cool. But at first, it's going to be a little normal. But I'm excited about it, excited to be in the same league. And like you said, excited about the Pac-12. I think it's going to be a really good basketball league. Obviously, a lot of the same Mountain West teams we just played, but adding Gonzaga is obviously huge. And then Oregon State and Washington State, too, are still big football brands. And Oregon State, it's looking like they're going to be good this year as well.
Yeah, they've been adding in the portal. Even like Fresno's been adding guys. It seems like everybody's going to be loaded again. We saw the Nebraska game announced. We obviously know about Wichita State, on the road, Butler coming back, and then those are the three that have been announced publicly. What's kind of the thought process in terms of building a schedule? I know that's Mike Burns' kind of forte, but in terms of, do you go a little easier and try to get some wins and some confidence? Do you schedule extra hard? Do you knowing what you have in the Pac-12 this year? I know we're still waiting on the MTE and some other games as well, but what do you think is kind of the plan or the goal with trying to build the schedule this year, going into the Pac-12?
Yeah, obviously with the Pac-12, we have less conference games, so more non-conference games we need to fill.
And they added a game this year. That didn't help.
Yeah, I know, right? No, so yeah, I know our guy Mike Burns was a little stressed out about that, but he's doing great with everything there. I think it's the same. You need to play those quad one games and find them in the non-con to kind of anchor your resume a little bit, especially for us. The committee has just shown if you play a weak non-conference strength of schedule that you will get punished for that usually. So we still, and we want to test ourselves, man. We want to get better. We don't want to run from any of that. So that's obviously huge, especially, trying to play some of the better teams on the West Coast or anywhere. So that's a point of emphasis for sure. And then just kind of building out, where those bye games are, how many. Coach Burns does a great job of that. So the scheduling, philosophy is still the same, playing as many good teams as you can.
What, AJ, if you are our guest for another couple minutes here, what was last year like for you? You obviously, worked under your dad, worked at Gonzaga, and I know you obviously knew Coach Rice very well, but coming over here with a new staff and a new team and finding your role and kind of continuing your ascent up the, depth chart, so to speak, in the coaching ranks here. What's it been like being over here at Boise State?
Yeah, it was awesome. First of all, the staff was amazing just to get to know them. Coach Rice, Coach Burns, all the way down, amazing people. And then to see how special the Bronco community was, just the fan support and how engaged they were. I got to go to football games, every Saturday. That was awesome. So City as a Boise was amazing, and being part of the community. The year was a great learning experience. As you know, we had some great highs, but also some low lows. So being a part of that on the coaching side, it's obviously difficult. Just the ups and downs, ebbs and flows through the season, but I learned a ton, and got to, obviously get really close with the staff and everything. So it was a great first year, great learning experience, and I'm excited to build on it.
I know you guys have high expectations, but I guess final question. I mean, everyone's asking me what I'm thinking. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I haven't seen these guys play. You don't know how it's all going to mesh together. Like, you guys could, be awesome. You could be terrible. Like, who knows? Like, the track record says the guys you bring in are going to be good guys. And like the track record, like I said, the history of Leon Rice says this is going to be a good competitive team. But what does that mean? Tournament rankings in the Pac-12. Like, I think anyone's crazy if they think they have a real idea until you get all the guys together and put them on a court, whatever. And I know it's a lot of projections and things on your guys, but when you think about the returners, you think about the roster you built, how the pieces fit. And I know you guys, a lot can change, but you probably have in light pencil depth chart and starting five and everything else. When you kind of look at it, I know missing the tournament last year, a lot of fans were frustrated. You mentioned, losing the first game like you did and then the last game like you did. I mean, kind of a frustrating year, but how are you and the staff looking at what you put together and what are the expectations? What should be fans' kind of expectations? I mean, is it NCAA tournament or bust? Is it Pac-12 champs or bust? I mean, how are you guys kind of, as you mentioned, tough league, trying to rebound from a tough year? How are you guys looking at this, and what are the expectations you think?
Yeah, I mean, first off, we just obviously got to take it day by day, because, projecting and thinking you're this isn't going to get you anywhere. So really just getting guys to believe in the day by day of getting better, because we have to, like I said, our returners have to take a jump. The guys we're bringing in have to gel for this to work, but we believe they can. But to answer your question, like, we're not going to shy away from our goal is the NCAA tournament, of course. That's what we want to do. And to go with that, we're going to have to, compete in the Pac-12. We want to win the Pac-12. We want to win the Pac-12 tournament, and we want to make the NCAA tournament. We're not going to shy away from that. But just talking about it and kind of convincing yourself it's going to happen isn't what gets it done. Like showing up to work June 8th when everyone gets back, day by day, working every day like that's how it gets done, and not shying away from that. So we got a long way to go, obviously, with a bunch of new guys to get there. But I think this team has the talent and kind of the toughness and the buildup and the leadership to totally do it, and do obviously, make the fans proud and, make ourselves proud. So that's the goal. We're not shying away from that, but it's going to be a long process to, work and get there.
So was that Brock's hookups or Leon's to be sitting right behind the Laker bench the other night?
No, that was Coach Rice. That was Coach Rice. He got that hooked up. That was pretty funny to see. Yeah, Brock and Coach just sitting right behind LeBron. So, yeah.
Awesome. I joke about that, but it looks like you're out of the office for a short time. And what you mentioned June 8th, what is kind of the plan here? I know there's still a lot of work going on, even though you guys aren't in the office, like I said, with the schedule and planning the summer and all that. I mean, you're never really off, but in terms of the players and the staff, is this a little downtime? Maybe Coach Burns can work on that 7-iron a little bit, or I mean, what's kind of the plan, and when are you hoping to have the full team back there in early June, or what is kind of the plan here?
Yeah, well, to talk about Coach Burns, I mean, it's not just the 7-iron that needs work; it's the whole bag. So he needs to address that first. But no, this is like you said, this is usually traditionally before all this portal and everything, it was after the season ended, you had a couple weeks, and then you kind of get back. But ever since the season, we've been doing all portal stuff. So this is finally, now that our roster set a little downtime. Most of our guys are gone back home with their families. So this is our time to kind of just, be with our families, travel a little bit, and also get back to regular programming of now we can recruit high schoolers, which have kind of been on the back burner a little bit through all the portal stuff. So we'll go to the different, circuits, Adidas, Nike, Puma, do all that, recruit high schoolers, get the next generation of Broncos ready, and also take a little off time, spend time with our families, and then we'll reconvene early June, have all the guys back on campus and be ready to work.
Awesome, man. Well, appreciate your time, man. Hopefully we can do this again soon. Enjoy the downtime. It's well-deserved. And like I said, I don't know what it's going to all add up to, but it's certainly going to be, I think, fun to watch for fans, man. It's going to be a different, certainly a different team than we saw last year in a lot of different ways. And so I think it's going to be fun. I think fans seem excited about it, and looking at all the changes coming to the arena as well, and the Pac-12, and it just seems like it's going to be a year that everyone's going to want to tune into and watch. So appreciate your time, man. Enjoy the next couple weeks, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me, BJ. Take care.
Thanks, AJ. Take care, man. There he is, AJ Few. Appreciate him for joining us. Great stuff there, man. He's going to have to become a regular here, Director of Player Personnel, and appreciate Jordan Beasley over at Boise State for helping set that up as well. But he does a ton of work helping build the roster, and he's involved in Bronco Pro with some of the negotiations of the contracts and things as well. And I could have probably got into that, but I'd already kept him 20 minutes, so didn't want to keep him too much longer than that. But appreciate AJ Few. Good stuff there. And again, a little bit of downtime for the Broncos, and they'll reconvene on June 8th, it sounds like. Hey, Bauscher Real Estate, #1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. 252-9877. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, do what the Raines family did. Go with Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. You will not be disappointed. More information, get that process started at BauscherRealEstate.com. Hey, if you need a roof, if you need to fix your roof, if you just want to find out what it might cost, if you need an inspection for a new home or something, Signature Roofing has you covered. MySignatureRoofing.com. Tell Joel and the whole staff over there that you heard about us on BNN. They'll hook you up with a great deal. And in fact, I can help connect you. Any of our sponsors, I can help connect you directly with the owner and get that process started. We'll get you the best deal we can. Signature Roofing online at mysignatureroofing.com. And We got our roof last summer at our new house with them, and we are loving it. And you will love it and enjoy it as well. It's Signature Roofing, mysignatureroofing.com. Same goes for a new fence. Element Fencing fixed our broken fence a couple years ago. They can fix your fence, get you a whole new fence, whatever it takes. Element Fencing online, elementfencing.com, 631-2790. Brady and his staff, 25 plus years in the fencing business. Tell them you heard about us on BNN. They'll hook you up with a great deal. But decks, cedar, wrought iron, vinyl, pergolas, fences, they can do it all, folks. Element Fencing. Check them out online, elementfencing.com. Hey, if you're looking for that hometown grocer, you want some great deals, great prices, you want to support the local community, that's Ridley's Family Markets. ShopRidleys.com. 13, 14 locations in the state of Idaho, surrounding states as well. And I love that Kuna location. They've got Magic Valley, Treasure Valley, McCall, Ridley's Family Markets, ShopRidleys.com. Check them out online and to find a location near you or some of their great deals, or head on into one of their locations. We appreciate Ridley's. Again, Ridley's Family Markets. Hey, if you got that painting project, you're thinking about doing it yourself, don't do it. You're going to get paint on the floor, ruin your clothes. Let rowpaint.com, the professionals, do it. It'll be better when it's done anyway. Affordable pricing, whether it's interior, exterior painting, concrete coatings. We did that in our garage, our back patio with them, and it transforms the look of that ugly slab in one day, and it's tremendous, and it's way more affordable than you probably think. So Andy Rowe, again, I'll connect you directly like I did last week with somebody. Rowpaint.com, all your painting needs, they got you covered. And it's as little as painting a wall or two in your house or as big as painting your whole house. They can help you out, again, online at rowpaint.com. Well, let us know what you thought. Do you feel any different, any better, any worse about the basketball team after hearing AJ Few break down the roster, after hearing Kaur Tomann join us, the newest high school kid? How you feeling about things? Damari Wheeler-Thomas, Ty Rogers, that backcourt's going to be fun to watch. And then you throw in some of the other new guys they got there with Stand Back and some of these guys. It's going to be like I said, I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to be exciting to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing these pieces fit together and just seeing a new brand, a new style of basketball, and just new faces around the program this year. A lot of people wanted change. They got the change. And now we'll see what it all looks like putting it all together. So appreciate AJ Few, appreciate Kaur for joining us. And I think it's going to be June 8th when they get back and they start letting us watch some practices and seeing what this team looks like. Very intrigued to see what this team looks like as they move into the new Pac-12. Still a lot of work to do on the schedule. As we mentioned, they have the Nebraska non-conference game announced at the Sanford Pentagon there. They've got at Wichita State, home versus Butler, 3 nice, games on paper. Still need that tournament. Still need another couple quality games. And then, you got to fill 16 non-conference games. They've still got 13 games they got to fill. A tournament probably gives them 3. That's 10 games they still got to fill, and those can't all be bye games. You can't just pay 10 teams to host them at home. So 5 or 6 or 7 might be, but I'm guessing there's at least one more road game probably and another neutral court game or 2 as well that has to be thrown in there because they got to find some games. So we'll see what that looks like, but that's kind of where the shift turns to now is the schedule and what that's going to look like. So appreciate you guys for checking out the show. Again, we will have Spencer Danielson tomorrow. You want football talk? We got it. Spencer Danielson, head coach, Boise State football team, live on tomorrow's show. So tell your friends, join the show tomorrow. Coach is going to join us for 30 minutes. If you got questions, you got, whatever you want to tell Coach D, you can get it in the YouTube chat tomorrow. Spencer Danielson. So if today was too much basketball talk for you, we got the football talk tomorrow with Spencer Danielson on tomorrow's show. So go subscribe, BroncoNationNews.com. We got 50% off our annual rate right now. Chris is killing it with the recruiting coverage. Nathan's got the analysis, football, basketball, columns from Mike Prater, my reporting and coverage as well. And all of the 24/7 recruiting rankings and databases and national reporters. You get access to all of that as a subscriber. And it's like $5 or $6 a month right now, 50% off the annual rate. So if you've been thinking about it, now's the time. Take advantage of the 50% off sale, and then you get a full year. So all through football season, all through basketball season, and you just pay now and don't have to worry about it. And then you get your coverage for a full year. So if you like the shows, you like having the interviews, you like having, Jay Tust and everybody coming on and Prater and Johnny, and you enjoy watching this show on YouTube, there's a couple ways to help support us. And that is all the sponsors we've talked about throughout the show, many of our major sponsors, which are behind us. And of course, buying a subscription definitely helps as well, because we want to expand our coverage, expand our traveling to get more writers, more folks, more videographers, everybody on the road. We want to continue to build this thing up as big as we can, and that can't be done without your support. So BroncoNationNews.com. We will put our coverage up against anybody in the Valley, and you get 50% off right now for what we think is the best Boise State coverage when you throw in recruiting and the amount of travel that we do to the road games. No one can really match either of those. So BroncoNationNews.com, 50% off. Sign up right now. And like I said, go support the sponsors. Tell them you heard about it at Bronco Nation News. And at a minimum, if you're watching on YouTube right now, give us a subscription, give us a like here on YouTube, help us build as we push towards 8,000 YouTube subscribers and keep building this channel. If you're watching on Facebook or X, we ask you to switch over and start watching on YouTube. Again, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. We do this each and every day, and we appreciate all of you that make this part of your daily routine to watch us here on Bronco Nation News. Sun Cruiser, our studio sponsor. Blueberry lemonade, strawberry lemonade, the half and halves, the tea flavors, so many great options. We appreciate Sun Cruiser, our studio sponsor. And of course, Lithia Ford of Boise, our title sponsor, Jim Sturkin Company. There would be no Bronco Nation News without Lithia Ford of Boise. So new, pre-owned, when you're ready for that next vehicle, check them out. Lithia Ford of Boise online, lithiafordboise.com. They have that employee pricing going on right now through the end of the year, or through the end of the next month, I guess, about another month or so. If you're looking for that employee pricing, great deals, now is the time. Lithia Ford of Boise. Again, Spencer Danielson, football coach, Boise State, on tomorrow's show. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Appreciate Jay Tust, AJ Few, Kaur Tomann for joining us, and most importantly, appreciate all of our sponsors, but appreciate each and every one of you that do watch this show, that do go to our sponsors, that are subscribers. Thank you guys for making this all possible here at BNN. Big things to come. And that'll start tomorrow with Spencer Danielson, 9 a.m. right here on Bronco Nation News, online, BroncoNationNews.com. If there's any news, things break, we'll see you in the message boards. We'll be chatting, all kinds of stuff going on online. Just because the show ends doesn't mean our workday ends. We'll see you in the message boards. Go in there and chat with us. Go subscribe. And again, we'll see you with Spencer Danielson, your Boise State football coach, tomorrow on Bronco Nation News right here, BroncoNationNews.com. Take care, everybody.